Today we are going to start our session on life in Canada as a Sri Lankan lawyer, organized by IDMNC International and Buckinghamshire New University. And thank you so much for joining with us today. Today we have an important person with us today for this session, Mr. Asela Rupasinghe, who is attorney at law and currently practicing as a barrister and a solicitor Canada. So good evening, sir. Thank you so much for accepting our request to be here and share your insights and knowledge with the experience you are having on this exact area. Good evening, sir.
Hi, good evening, everyone. um, so, when I was invited to this session, I have conducted a previous session with these Buckinghamshire University students who are studying in Sri Lanka. So that was regarding office politics and work-life balance for a legal for someone who is working in a legal industry. So today, see this specific topic which we are going to discuss, I'm in a better position to explain how would be your life in Canada if you migrate to Canada as a lawyer. If you get your LLB degree, I think that's what you are doing currently with this university. And also, when you get your LLB degree from a London University or from England University, you can get the license um, to be a lawyer. So we call attorney at law in Sri Lanka, right? That's what we call. So once you complete your LLB, you can register with the Sri Lanka Law College, and then you can complete their exams. And what would be the next process? You will have to complete apprentice period for 6 months, and then you will get called to the bar. So we call it the enrollment in the Supreme Court of Sri Lanka. That's the Sri Lankan process, right? So today I'm going to explain you briefly how would you become a lawyer in Canada if you are already a lawyer in Sri Lanka. So that is going to be the relevant scenario for you guys, right? Because if you planning to migrate to a country, so I can specifically talk about Canada. So if you ever come to Canada after your legal studies, right? Not now, not today, not tomorrow, because I think you are still studying for your LLB, and then you have the process to complete within Sri Lanka. So please keep that in mind. I'm talking about like assuming like you will be completing your legal studies, become a lawyer in Sri Lanka, and then come to Canada. And the scenarios what I'm going to discuss today will be applicable to those people, right? So Sri Lankan
Okay.
lawyers, basically.
Okay, sir. So since we are having some guests today, so shall we have a better understanding about what is the difference between an attorney at law and when it comes to a barrister or a solicitor, what is the difference between them and what are the similarities between these things, sir?
Yeah, so basically, we call the lawyers as attorney at law in Sri Lanka. So when you come to Canada, so this profession is basically in two parts. So you can identify a lawyer from two different aspects. Like we call it here barrister and solicitor, right? And what barristers do, they go to courts and they argue in the courts. I'm telling you the most simple answer to that question. And what solicitors do, they do not go to courts. They do all the notary works, paperwork, and prepare the files and preparing the documents, basically instructing lawyers. So even in Sri Lanka, we had this differentiate. Uh, I don't remember when did we remove that two parts of the profession. Now we call it attorney at law as a whole. Even for the people, even for the lawyers who are arguing in the courts, even for the lawyers who are instructing, but still we have that two different practice areas in Sri Lanka. I know many of my lawyers, they just like to stay outside of the courts. So that's basically what solicitors do in Canada. So some other lawyers say that they don't like to stick with the paperwork, and they have instructing lawyers behind the scene. What they do, they take the file, the brief, and they go to the courts and appear before the judges and other parties. That's what barristers do. So that is so to answer that question, that's the um, the dividing line. The people who go to the courts are called barristers, and the instructing lawyers, and basically who are doing the so basically if you come to me or other solicitor um, to get your property deeds done, the contract done, and you sell a house, you buy a house. So all those kind of work will be handled by the solicitors, right? So I think that's enough for this purpose. That's the main differentiate between the solicitors and barristers. So they all came from the British practice, right? Because they also we were also under British, and Canada also under British in the past.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for that explanation. Now I think all the guests would have a better idea about what is the differentiation between all these characters and these qualifications. So, sir,
Right.
I have another question for you. Can Sri Lankan lawyers who have taken oaths in Supreme Court of Sri Lanka practice in Canada as lawyers? Is it possible?
Yes. The simple and direct answer is yes. You get a I think we are luckier than the local students. As an example, if my son wants wants to become a lawyer in Canada, because he was born in Canada, he has to go through the whole process. Basically, you keep a good average in your high schools, and then you attend the university for your first degree, which will take uh, around 4 years or a little bit more, and then you attend the you get qualified to the law college, law schools. It's not like in Sri Lanka. We only have one law college, right? And it is called Sri Lanka Law College. That's not the case in Canada. They have so many law schools, so many law faculties in different units universities. So after they completing their first degree, then they have to join the law school, and then they have to do this articling period, what we call apprentice in Sri Lanka. It is 6 months in Sri Lanka. In Canada, it is 10 months. Um, so then only they can. So they have to go to the bar exams. Then only they can be called to the bar. So this whole process would take at least closer to like 8 to 8 years. So that's the case for a local student. But the question Mr. Mayantha asked, can a Sri Lankan lawyer become a barrister and solicitor in Canada using their qualification, which they obtain in Sri Lanka? Yes, they can, but there is a process, and who will be responsible to conduct this process? We call it before I go there, I have to explain a little bit more about a Canadian legal system. I mean, everyone knows that Canada is a federal country. It's not like Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka has, yes, we have um, 9 provinces in Sri Lanka. Right. So we have 9 provinces in Sri Lanka, but we do not consider Sri Lanka as a federal country. We have the provincial government, but they are not that powerful. They are not given all the powers like in Canada. So Canada has 10 provinces and territories. So they have their own government in their province. So because of that reason, not like in Sri Lanka has one main law society, which we call it the Bar Association of Sri Lanka. The Bar Association of Sri Lanka, one body to govern all the attorney at laws in Sri Lanka. It's not the case in Canada because they are federal and they do have their own governments in each province. They do have their own law societies for the each province. So I was living in Ontario for the last 10, 11 years. So they have their own law society called Law Society of Ontario. And now I'm living in Alberta. They do have their own law society called Law Society of Alberta. So for the British Columbia, they do have their own one. So because of this reason, when it comes to the national matter, like a federal matter, the foreign lawyer coming from another country and becoming a barrister and solicitor in Canada, this process is governed by both provincial and federal law societies, which means they have a institution called that they have a body called if Muniver can show us their logo and the name. Yes, this is the one. Federation of Law Societies of Canada. So what is this society means? This is the federation. This is the base. This organization has been developed, like has been established by all the law societies in Canada, like Ontario, British Columbia, Alberta, Quebec, Nova Scotia. So all the law societies get together and they have this federation. So the matter of dealing with the foreign lawyers and their admission to the Canadian law societies will be dealt by this federation. This body contain all the other law societies in Canada, right? So NCA, the other institution you should be familiar with, National Committee of Accreditation. So this is this is your friend, what I call this is your friend. If you are going to become a lawyer in Canada, you have to go through this committee. What this committee does, so let's say Mayantha become a lawyer in Sri Lanka within next couple of years, and he's coming to Canada. And let's say another students, I can see other people. So another student is coming to Canada, another one. So someone else from different university, not from your university. Someone else from directly from law college. Someone else from University of Colombo or KDU or from Peradeniya faculty or Jaffna faculty. Why I'm mentioning all these names? There are different ways to become a lawyer in Canada, right? Some people can directly enter to the Sri Lanka Law College by passing the law entrance exam, and other people from advanced level examination going to the government universities, or um, like you guys, you can obtain a foreign LLB from a university from England or from other any other common law country, and then become a lawyer. So each candidate can have a different legal background. So what this committee does, they do an assessment on each candidate. They do one on Mr. Mayantha and they do one on the other person from the Columbia Uni, and on the student from Sri Lanka Law College. So they do an assessment on each candidate, each foreign lawyer. So I forgot to mention, we get this chance because we were also under British government, because we have the common law grounds, and Canada also, they also having the common law system here. That is why we get this chance, because they consider, okay, these people are smart, educated lawyers from common law countries. They do have a background knowledge about the common law concepts. That is why they are recognizing our law degree. Even though if you don't have a law degree, if you are just an attorney at law in Sri Lanka, still they consider, okay, these people, these foreign lawyers, these Sri Lankan lawyers, Indian lawyers, there is a list. Not all lawyers from all over the world uh, go through this process. Only the attorney at laws from common law country can go through this process and become a lawyer, right? So because we were under British, as Sri Lankan lawyers, we still get this chance, which I consider it's a good thing. So usually when we have kind of a weird situation in Sri Lanka, um, which we cannot see in other countries, um, because there are lawyers who do not who do not carry an LLB degree in Sri Lanka. Because if you write the law entrance examination and enter the Sri Lanka Law College, you can become a lawyer within 4 years or something, but you do not have a LLB degree. It's not like you guys, like who are studying with the Buckinghamshire New University. You getting a LLB degree first, and then you become a lawyer. But if you directly enter the Sri Lanka Law College, you do not get a LLB degree, but still you can become a lawyer. So for those two types of lawyers, can go through this process. It doesn't matter if you have a LLB or not. Okay, so keep that in mind, right?
Okay. Okay, sir. So we have another question on visa applications. So, as a Sri Lankan lawyer, a person who is obtaining or possessing an attorney at law in Sri Lanka, is it possible as to apply visa to Canada? Or if not, is there any procedures to get the approval or the applications or get accepted for the visa program in Canada as a lawyer, Sri Lankan lawyer?
It's a good question, Mayantha. Unfortunately, I cannot say yes for that question, though. Even though I can say, if you are a lawyer in Sri Lanka, can you become a lawyer in Canada? I can answer yes. But just because you are a lawyer, can you migrate to Canada using that as a qualification? The direct answer is no. There are no direct path to migrate to Canada using attorney at law as a qualification. I know. So they are. So as a disclaimer, I should mention this. This is not like legal um, advices, because to give immigration advices, you will have to have that kind of special license. So I do not have that. So, but for the information, for educational purposes, I can say there is no direct um, path to come to Canada using our legal experiences. But there are certain ways to come to Canada, like as a student, or even in these days, if you come to Canada as a visitor, and if you manage to find a job offer or something, still you can apply for PR after a certain time within Canada. And also, there's a program called skilled migration. There's a point system. Even though we cannot use our legal education as a direct path, but for this point calculation purposes, you can put your LLB degree and other degrees and see if how much points you get. um, Even though you cannot use our legal qualification to come to Canada, if you come as a student, I have seen many lawyers are coming for their master's degree um, for something. So it doesn't. It's not necessary that you have to take a legal related degree or course. I have seen many lawyers come as a student visa to do um, their master's degree in business administration side, something related. It's not necessary you have to come for a legal subject, legal related subject. So if you come as a student, or spouse, as a spouse of a international student, or if you come as a visitor and then secure a job offer and settle down here, still you can become a lawyer. Doesn't matter what is your immigration status is. And I will give you a surprising point. Even if you are in Sri Lanka right now and you do have the qualifications, you can start this process uh, while in Sri Lanka. You don't have to be in Canada to do this NCA process and all the exams, because they do the assessment online. You will have to send you all the transcripts and everything directly from your university to NCA, directly from local college to NCA, and then they do the assessment and they send you the assessment results. What this assessment means, so they do one assessment on Munivar and they say, okay, Munivar, you do these Canadian subjects. So I forgot to share what are the main subjects uh, they would assign. So let's say you come to Canada, you do the assessment. What can they assign to you? If we can share the all the core subjects. Yeah, these are the core subjects. You would be familiar with these terms anyways. Canadian administrative law, Canadian constitutional law, Canadian criminal law, Canadian professional responsibility, what we call it ethics, professional ethics, foundation of Canadian law, and the legal research and writing. These are the 5 core subjects, 5 mandatory subjects, and the legal research and writing. So based on your experience, they can assign this 5 plus legal research plus any other additional examinations. So there are list for additional subjects as well, if you can show them, additional legal subjects. Yes. So so let's say you become a lawyer next year and you decided to practice 5 years in Sri Lanka, and then apply for this assessment, and someone else become a lawyer next year, they apply right away. Will there be a difference between these two candidates? For sure, right? One is carrying a 5-year experience, the other one is just became a lawyer. So would they get the same number of legal subjects to complete? I would say no. The person who is having 5 years of experience um, may ended up just doing the 5 subjects and the legal research. And for someone else who is carrying the experience more than that, or LLM and other qualifications, legal practice, they may um, they may just get the 5 subjects and the legal research. But someone who is applying right away most likely get one of these additional subjects assigned with those core subjects, right? And so if you decide to start this process while you are getting prepared to migrate to Canada, let's say you become a lawyer and you are planning to go to Canada, but the visa process may take longer because you have to come up with your financial other documents, and in the meantime you are planning to get married and migrate as a couple, so it will take time. So if you are a lawyer, when a lawyer reach out to me, when a Sri Lankan lawyer reach out to me and ask about the migrating to Canada, if my friend is a lawyer and the spouse is not, and I suggest them to have their spouse as a student, and then you can come with that person while the spouse is completing their uh, whatever the degree she or he may want to complete. Meantime, or even before you get prepared for the student visa, meantime you can start this process from Sri Lanka, right? Your um, immigration status or your where do you live does not matter for this purpose. uh, Keep that in mind. So I will tell you, if you can write it down. NCA. I will give you the correct website. NCA.legal. Yeah, NCA.legal. That is the website. You can go there. They do have their policies listed. They do have what is the eligibility that they would expect from you. What are the core subjects? How long they give you? They give you 5 years to complete these subjects. Within 5 years, you can complete these subjects, and then do 10 months of articling, so you can become a lawyer, right? Um, do you have any specific question to ask, man?
So thank you so much for that elaborative answer for that. So yeah, as a person who came from Sri Lanka to Canada and practiced here, so what are the significant challenges you faced in Canada as a legal practitioner or a legal profession when you moved on to Canada and while practicing? What are the challenges that the people would face as a law practitioner in the future?
Become a lawyer is a challenge in any country, right? Even in Sri Lanka, uh, it's a challenge because this profession doesn't matter how what people say. People would say this profession is overnumbered now, overcrowded, uh, but still people want to become a lawyer, right? Even in Sri Lanka, in any country, to become a lawyer is not an easy thing, and still this profession has a big demand, right? That is why people are still getting attracted to this position, this profession, even in Sri Lanka when people say it is overcrowded. In Canada, I would say to become a lawyer is a big challenge. So when we compare in the process to enter the profession, as I explained before, a local student versus international lawyer, we already get the opportunity over the locally students because we are already lawyers from a common law country. So because of this reason, there are some criticisms. So let's say you are born in Canada and you have to work hard and spend 8-10 years to become a lawyer. And the meantime, other lawyers come and complete this process within 2 years. I have seen people doing all the examinations within 1 year, and then the second year they complete their articling. Or some people even um, join they are even working in the law firms. If you By the time when you complete your NCA, you have to register one of the bar association in Canada, and then complete your articling period. So if you have been working in a law firm while you are doing the articling, you can get, while you are doing the NCA exams, you can even get 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 uh, get an exception um, for like you don't have you may not have to go through all 10 months. Maybe you can complete it within 8 months, right? So I have seen people completing this whole process within 2 years. So see, other people who are graduating from Canadian law schools, they may not like this, but mark my word, once you have become a lawyer, barrister, and solicitor in Canada, there's no different. No one can identify you as a like foreign lawyer. You came from other country other than from your appearance and your accent. So they may guess, but still, no one can tell you, oh, this barrister and lawyer um, came from another country and got their license, so they may have gone to the Canadian law schools. So first of all, by there is no differentiation between immigrant lawyers, like the international trained lawyers. That is the correct word, they correct term they are using here. Internationally trained lawyers. There's no difference between Canadian origin lawyers or between us, right? So he asked about the challenges, but what I'm saying is for the main benefit, we can get into the system quicker than the others. But yeah, yes, we have spent our 4 years, 5 years back in Sri Lanka. That is why they are giving us this chance. Okay, they consider these guys have gone through hell of exams in back in their home country. So if you're talking about the challenges, what I am seeing, these challenges are common to all lawyers, not just for us. For me, I can say that I had a big network back in Sri Lanka. Like I know people, I know neighbors, I know friends, I know my schoolmates. So in Sri Lanka, you cannot advertise, right? Everything you have to come from your network. So your friend knows you are a lawyer, and so they send you clients and your family, neighbors, schoolmates, and you can have one, I think maximum two officers, right? One at your home, your house, and one somewhere else, maybe closer to the courthouse. So that's the only so what I'm telling, the benefits. I supposed to tell you the disadvantages, but in Canada you can advertise. So what I was trying to say, even though we do not have that kind of a network to make a good client basis, still you can advertise. You can do like you can do YouTube advertisement, paper, or like billboards, whatever you can, right? So advertising is allowed in Canada. So the one disadvantage I saw, that we do not carry that network. Also, there may be some um, like getting used to the Canadian culture, and because a lawyer should be able to identify all the aspects of the society, because in Sri Lanka, I think lawyers are the most significant people um, who are dealing with politics, and um, always, even back then, few years ago, when this revolution things are happening, the lawyers were behind the people, and when the parliament is trying to limit uh, people's rights, um, if they are trying to bring the bad laws, I see the lawyers are the significant people, and the Bar Association of Sri Lanka, they were the people who stood for the public. So why they can, how they can do it? Because they have the sense of the people. So when you come to new country, you may not have that kind of sense, because the society is different, language is different, the culture is different. So you may not feel that kind of a connection at the beginning. But eventually, when you are living in the country, if you are following the medias, if you are following the news, and if you put an effort to get blended with the society, I think you can overcome that challenge as well. So concluding Mr. Mayantha's question, yeah, there are challenges, but they are not um, really specific to international trained lawyers. So the other lawyers would also face these kind of like establishing a practice is a challenge for a Canadian origin lawyer or international trained lawyer. So that is that is how I see it.
So according to your answer, sir, it is clear that no matter where the place you are, if you are smart enough to make your challenges to an opportunity, you can do it. That's really
Absolutely. I because I have seen like many Sri Lankan lawyers, Indian lawyers, the Pakistan, Maldives, like the people came from different cultures. They are doing good, because when it's come to law, if you do your job, yeah, you will be successful.
So true, sir. So thank you so much for that explanation. Now it is time to go for a small Q&A session since
Yeah,
my
sure.
main questions are done. So we have some questions. So the first one is, how is the living cost in Canada? Is it affordable to a lawyer? What is your answer for that, sir?
Oh, yeah, nice question. Lawyers are rich here. Okay. Uh, I know when you when you come to the profession in Sri Lanka, I know thousands of lawyers from Sri Lanka. Even the brand new budding lawyers like who just passed out from the law college, and the people who are practicing for years and years and 10, 20 years. So I have seen how they are building their career, right? Start with the small like day-to-day matters with the MC, and then they develop their practice and go to the higher courts, and they get a lot of cases or deeds. So in Canada, once you have become a lawyer, if you manage to join a law firm, um, your starting salary would be I'm not going to say numbers, okay, because it may be um, like not accurate all the time, but I can give you the point. If you are if you become a lawyer in Canada and you join a law firm, your starting salary will be more significantly higher than many other jobs or professions. So what I'm trying to say, uh, if in Canada, if you do the job, what you get paid the minimum wage. There's a minimum wage in every in Canada, right? So I think each provinces are having a different minimum wage. Some provinces $15 per hour, in some provinces 16, 18. So even if you are working for the minimum wage in Canada, still you can live a good life here. You can afford your house, rentals, bills, food, and everything. So while I'm saying that, when the minimum wage is 15 to $18 in Canada, no lawyer would start their career within that range. They would start like maybe double or triple um, rates per hour, right? Just the start. So I think that would give the answer.
Okay. So the next question is something about your point of view, sir. The next question from an anonymous attendee is, which Canadian city would you recommend best for a Sri Lankan to move into? Are there any
Uh,
recommendations from your side?
I can, I can tell you the trend here, because I was living in Ontario, uh, which is the most one of the most populated province. The Ontario and the British Columbia are the most populated provinces. The Ontario, the Ottawa, the capital, is in the province of Ontario. So that province became so populated and expensive to live. And for a newcomer, I would not recommend to come to Ontario or British Columbia. But still, I should tell this. I must tell this. If you get a chance in an expensive province, let's say from British Columbia or Ontario, still take it. Still take it. Get whatever the opportunity comes in your way. Get into the country, and then you can do whatever the the groundwork. The if you are coming for a student visa, um, I don't think that it's matter the which province if you are coming to, right? Get your thing done, then you can move within the country, right? So, but to answer that question, for um, most people are migrating to Ontario and British Columbia because they offer more um, student visas. But after you have completed your studies, I have seen a trend. People are moving to Alberta from British Columbia and Ontario, right? So far, Alberta is the affordable place, and you can buy houses for significant lower amounts. I'm talking about like hundred of thousands of dollars, right? In Alberta rather than in British Columbia or Ontario. There are some very cold provinces as well. So nobody wants to go there, but still you get a chance from a colder province. I would recommend that grab it and come here, and then you can decide where do you want to settle down.
Okay, that's a good answer. So, sir, our next question is, once I applied tourist visa to Canada and got rejected, will this be a problem if I again apply for a student visa to Canada?
Oh, again,
Once
this is
rejected tourist visa.
immigration related question. These are not legal advices, but um, from my knowledge, no, it wouldn't be a problem. It wouldn't be a problem because when you apply for a visa and you got rejected, and then you go for a next application, maybe in the same category or different category, you will have to mention, if they ask in the application, you will have to mention, have you ever applied within last 2 years or 5 years, whatever the application says. You have to mention that. And um, if you are not within that kind of a period, you don't have to mention it. But I have seen many people got rejected first time and then successfully received their visa in the same category or different category says you got rejected from visit visa, but you still get student visa. You got rejected applying student visa, but you get visitor visa. But yeah, so one does not affect the other. That is what my experience is.
Okay, sir. So there are a few questions about relating to the same area. So these questions ask about, is it possible to practice law in Canada only with LLB degree without completing the attorney at law? I think you answered this question before. So shall we give a small fast reply for this question also again, sir?
Yeah, the direct answer is yes. If you have successfully completed LLB, let's say the degree, assuming that that is a student of your Buckinghamshire New University. Let's say you complete that LLB and you don't want to go through another 2 years in Sri Lanka Law College, um, but you decided to come to Canada right away.
Okay,
Yes,
sir. So
you can still go through this process, but you may get an additional subjects assigned because of let's say someone else is completing the other process uh, and become an attorney at law and apply. So there is a difference between two candidates, right? They do the assessment. They may give you one extra subject to complete, but the answer is yes.
okay, sir. So that's another question which has been repeated from many attendees. So within that 5 years of doing the assessment, can we apply for PR in Canada? Is
Yeah,
it difficult?
again, this NCA process or barrister and solicitor process has nothing to do with your immigration, right? These are two different paths, right? Let's say you do this NCA process and become a lawyer, and still you may not have a proper Canadian immigration status, right? That has to go in a different path. So different path means you get a job offer here, and then a work permit, and then complete your 1 year or 2 year according to the province's requirement, and then you apply for PR. Or you come as a visitor, you get a job offer and apply for the PR. You come as a student and complete your degree and then apply for the PR. So that is they are that is a different road. NCA and becoming a lawyer is a different road. These two are not connected. Even the NCA or Federation of Law Societies, they do not consider your immigration status until you get called to the bar, right? Even if you get called to the bar, and if you do not have a proper work permit to work, you cannot work, right? Because you have to have a proper work eligibility to do any kind of work in Canada. To study, you have to have a student permit, study permit, right? To vote, you have to have a citizenship, and for permanent residence is something else. You have to so the only difference between citizenship and permanent residency is you cannot vote. And also for PR people, you have to keep renewing your permanent residency status in every 5 years. Citizens, they do not have to. So those are the immigration status road. This is the professional thing. Unfortunately, you cannot use NCA or legal barrister and solicitor qualifications for your immigration purposes directly. You can add them as your educational qualifications. Um, yeah, unfortunately, these are not connected. In other ways, not unfortunate. Even you do not have your immigration status, still you can complete this process. I think that is a plus point also.
Okay, so there's the last question we are having. So this is very, it's up to you for the answer. So an attendee is asking which type of lawyers can earn the highest salary in Canada. I think she's asking about the practicing area. Do you have any answers for this question?
Yeah, I think corporation side, right? Um, I have seen how lawyers bill their time for real estate. Real estate means basically selling and buying properties. No, not like in Sri Lanka. There are no notaries. Um, Here, like all the notary work will be done by the solicitors. In Sri Lanka, there are certain people called notaries. They are not lawyers. Um, they are not lawyers. They have not gone to any kind of law school. They just do the notary exam, and they become a notary public, and they just do deeds, right? In Canada, all the real estate transactions should go through a solicitor. Um, so those kind of practice keep your law firm floating, like the uh, cash flow kind of a thing. It's like for a deed, for one real estate transaction, you may charge 850 to 1,500 dollars per file, right? But if you do the same work for a corporation, you would bill them, like if you spend a couple of days on a corporation work, you would give them like more than 5,000 bill just. And they do charge for a phone call, email. So you get an email and you reply back to the corporation, and you mark your time. You get a phone call for 10 minutes, you charge. Usually the hourly rate can go up to $600 per hour for a lawyer. Like, I don't know. I don't want to convert what $600 in Sri Lankan rupees. Yeah, I have seen the corporation side is the most earnable. Like, you can make a lot of money.
Okay, that's a good answer. So, since the Q&A session is done for today, we have come to the conclusion of the session. So again, thank you so much, Mr. Asela Rupasinghe, the barrister and the solicitor from Canada, who did a very interactive session to all the participants here today, giving his honest opinions about the very personal questions also. So thank you so much, sir, for your words. I mean, this is something very interesting to all the students in Sri Lanka who is hoping to immigrate for a better opportunity in the future. So thank you so much. So anything to add for the attendees today, sir?
What you are doing is a great thing. So I forgot to mention one thing. I think that would be so beneficial. The NCA has a list of universities that they would recognize. Like, let's say you get a law degree from anywhere, and then you can apply to NCA. It's not the case. So last night I went to their website, and I came up with this list, and I searched your university name, Buckinghamshire New University. Yeah, it is there. Don't worry. It is there. This is a well recognized law degree. So my advice is, you are in a good place. Yeah. So my final word is for you. This is a great demanding and good money making profession in Canada. Has a good reputation. They have so beautiful, nice courtrooms and good system. Um, so complete. You are in the process. You are in the process. So focus on completing your law degree um, in a good way, and then go for these kind of golden opportunities in your life. And I
Okay,
wish you
so
good luck.
as I mentioned, nothing to be afraid. Your future is with good hands with Buckinghamshire University and IDMC International. So thank you so much again, sir, for this valuable session you've done to these people, which is very understandable to everyone. And yes, now we have come to the end of the session, Life in Canada as a Sri Lankan Lawyer, which is organized by IDMNC International and Buckinghamshire New University. Again, thank you, sir, and to all the participants, thank you so much and have a good night. Goodbye, guys. We'll meet you all in another meeting like this, which is very valuable to your future. I'm Mayantha Warnakulasooriya, the moderator for the day.